Today we're going to go over the 14 best JRPGs you can play in 2025. These will be ordered by release date, and I'll also include a few free options for those of us on a budget. The Tales series is a popular franchise similar to Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, where they release several games that are all isolated stories and characters. Tales of Graces F Remastered is the first installment of the Remastered project, which many people are believing is going to be an attempt to remaster all of the fan favorite Tales games. The changes from the originals are going to be enhanced visuals and several quality of life features such as turning off random encounters, things to make it feel like a more modern JRPG experience. Tales of Graces F Remastered is definitely on my radar, but it depends if I'm able to finish Persona 3 Reload before its release. Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero will be releasing shortly after Tales of Graces F Remastered on January 30th. The Lost Hero is actually going to be a sequel, but I'm presuming it's going to be its own isolated story, but it's going to have characters and hinted from the first installment of the game. Now, The Lost Hero does have a lot of potential to be a hidden gem that people are going to sleep on. Now, I feel like Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero is releasing at a very good time slot, where it's not going to be really competing with a lot of heavy hitter JRPGs, so hopefully a lot of people are going to be able to give this game a chance, since there's going to be nothing. It has like a clear schedule. I feel like it couldn't have picked a better release date. Now, The Lost Hero is going to follow Marona, which, like I said, is a character from the original Phantom Brave, but she's going to be going on a pirate adventure with phantoms, hence the name Phantom Brave. And with The Lost Hero, it's going to primarily revolve around its Confine system, and this is a system that allows you to put souls of your allies into weapons or random objects to summon them during battle. If that doesn't work, you can also just fuse with the soul to transform Marona by fusing with that different phantom. So you can put them in, like I said, a sword, and that way they're going to take on that form and be summoned onto the battlefield. If that doesn't work, you can also just flat out fuse with the souls and transform the actual character of Marona. Now, being able to direct these souls into objects in like a strategy-based JRPG, I feel like could offer a very unique take on combat. The Phantom Brave series, from what I found, a lot of people enjoy, and I'm pretty sure this system is pulled from that, which had good reception. So I'm interested to actually get my hands on it, since I haven't played the original Phantom Brave. This is going to be my first one, and I want to see just how this affects combat, and if that leads into why people view that game in such a high regard. Especially being able to see how this system can be used to manipulate the harder encounters on your favor. Now, for those that haven't already, I really would appreciate it if you help me get this video to 100 likes and consider subscribing to the channel. Pretty much all of these games on this list I'm going to be giving reviews on, so if you see something you like or you just want to be reminded when the big JRPGs come out, subscribing to my channel isn't going to let you down. I'm going to keep you posted. But now that you're taking care of that, let's get back to the video. Now, I hate to be that guy, but I'm still playing through the first game, and I'm not getting spoiled watching trailers for the second game to make this video. I'm gonna go ahead and let my editor handle that by making this game look appealing through the trailers, while I talk about some generic information I already know about the sequel. Trails Through Daybreak 2 will be releasing on February 14th, which is a lot sooner than many expected, because generally the Legend of Heroes games are released in Japan and take a good bit of time to actually be localized into other regions. So the fact that we're getting this follow-up so quick is very impressive, and I think it's something that's really new to the franchise, if I'm not mistaken. And it seems like they've found the formula to get them out to us sooner. Now, Trails Through Daybreak 1 introduced a mix of turn-based and action-based combat to the franchise, which seems to have been well received. Think Metaphor ReFantasio, but much simpler, and I know this came out before Metaphor, but that's a comparison I feel like a lot of people are going to be able to understand. It's just not as complex as Metaphor ReFantasio. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii releases February 21st. Now, this is a funny one because I feel like every time I look at this franchise, it's like a massive what the fuck is going on? What are they doing? Like, you mean to tell me we have gang-banging pirates in Hawaii? Who thinks of these ideas? Like, this is ridiculous, but hey, I'm here for it. Now, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is going to be a spin-off in the Like a Dragon series, focusing on Majima, who's lost his memories and is stranded on an island leading a pirate crew. But with this one, they've returned to action-based combat, but since pirates are incorporated as well, you can now also expect to see naval combat. Majima is able to use two different fighting styles. One is going to be speed focused, and the other is going to allow you to wield a cutlass and pistols. Now, outside of regular combat, I mentioned a little bit earlier with the naval combat, you can also assemble a pirate crew, explore the sea, and upgrade that ship. And when ship combat takes place, it's going to be real time, and you also can board enemy ships to battle their crew and defeat their captain. Monster Hunter Wilds is easily the most anticipated game on this list, and will be shortly releasing after Like a Dragon on February 28th. Monster Hunter Wilds is a successor to Monster Hunter World, looking to build on that established formula. For those that have never played a Monster Hunter game, essentially you track down and fight monsters, which you gain rewards in the form of monster parts and other resources. From there, you can then craft new armor, weapons, and gear that allow you to fight more difficult monsters. That's pretty much the gist of what you can expect. Now, there are going to be 14 unique weapons, which all offer different playstyles, and these weapons have been built upon and iterated and incrementally made more intricate with each new entry into the franchise. Now, where Monster Hunter Wilds builds on this formula is you can seamlessly move between the larger world and the hunter village to cook food, replenish supplies, and craft new gear. Quests can also be started wherever you locate the target in the wild, as opposed to in the past where you had to pick up the quest and be deployed and then hunt your target. Wilds also introduces a type of mount that can aid you in exploration and direct you towards your current objective, and can also be ridden while in combat. The mount also allows you to carry two distinct weapons now while hunting, while in the past you've been limited to just one. Suikoden 1 and 2 are being remastered and released on March 6th. Suikoden is one of those legacy JRPG franchises that anyone who's played them speaks highly of. This was released before I was born, so with this HD remaster, we'll be getting better visuals and potentially a marketing push to get this game in front of the newer generation. From what I've heard, Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is its spiritual successor, but it didn't come close to capturing what made this franchise so loved. So instead of playing the spiritual successor this time, we'll be able to get the actual experience with modern 2D graphics and quality of life features. Atelier Yumia is a game that I'm really looking forward to, and it's going to be releasing March 20th. Now, Yumia is attempting to take the franchise in a different direction while still maintaining its core elements. Visually, they've made a significant leap, but the base building is what really caught my attention. Being able to build your own alchemy workshop beyond just being, just an interior designer is going to be so much fun. You literally can customize everything from the walls to the roof. I will be in the roofing industry come launch. Yumia also introduces a seamless open world system, which is going to be a first for the Atelier franchise. Now, for those not familiar, the franchise revolves around alchemy, so a core part of gameplay is going to be collecting resources to perform synthesis. Walking around with a staff that shoots like a gun is an interesting choice though. You can either take the fireball or you can take the bullet, but regardless, I'm taking these resources. All right, that was corny. My bad. I won't do it again. Sorry. We keep going. Speaking of combat, it looks to be like this fun blend of real-time action and strategy. You can actively move characters during battle to dodge attacks while planning your next move. They've also incorporated a frontline and backline dynamic that allows you to change which range you're attacking from. Parties include up to 6 members, while only 3 are active, but can be swapped between the other 3 at any time. Atelier games are generally known for being cute and a cuddly, relaxed experience. Now, when it comes to Yumia, they seem to be deviating from that slightly, with its real-time combat making things more fast-paced, and the story taking a darker approach, where I believe alchemy is forbidden, which, like I said, the previous games all revolved around alchemy. With this one, it's forbidden, but we're using something that's forbidden. Working on the script for this video, though, has made me even more excited for its release, and honestly, I can't wait. I would say Monster Hunter Wilds and Atelier Yumia, so far from what's announced, are the games that I'm looking forward to the most on this list until we get into our free-to-play section. Xenoblade Chronicles X, the definitive edition, will be releasing on March 20th, and now you will be able to revisit New Los Angeles on the Switch. Xenoblade Chronicles X was one of the most requested games to be ported from the Wii U to modern consoles, because really, who has a Wii U in today's age, and if you do, it's probably collecting dust in a corner somewhere. With Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition being announced, Now the entire Xenoblade Chronicles franchise is available to be played on Switch. I've recently stumbled upon the greatness that is Xenoblade. I made a video essay about it, like it's now probably my favorite JRPG of all time, and that was this year. And as soon as the Switch 2 is released, I plan to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, 3, and now X. But I do want to wait for the Switch 2 before I actually embark on that journey. Aside from the obvious visual enhancements, there's also going to be new story content and expanded multiplayer options for those who've already played the original. We've hit all of the JRPGs with the release dates, so now we're going to be moving into games that are scheduled to be released in 2025, but just don't have a date yet. Now I know some of these aren't going to be JRPGs, but I did include a few games that I felt us JRPG fans should be keeping our eye on. Neverness To Everness is going to be one of our 2 free options that I'll refer to as NTE, which are going to be designed as mobile games, but are going to be released on PC and console as well. There have been several games released that are attempting to actually challenge Genshin Impact, but I feel NTE actually has a very solid chance to take that formula and improve on it, as opposed to just making a lesser version copy of it. Lots of mobile games just lead with these flashy trailers of pre-rendered cutscenes and no gameplay. But with NTE, not only did they give us that flashy trailer, they immediately upon announcement dropped 15 minutes of gameplay, which really impressed me and caught my attention. That was over 5 months ago, but recently they did a tech test with several creators to show them everything the game has to offer. The reception so far seemed to be that they're delivering on all the things promised that we saw in the announcement trailer. NTE is probably going to be the closest we're going to get to an anime GTA for the foreseeable future. With NTE being in a city setting, I feel like that should be enough to differentiate it from Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves. Since its announcement, the developers have been making all the right moves, which lead me to believe to them wanting to actually make a fun game and not just a cash grab that we see with a lot of these mobile games. I'll be keeping my eyes on this one and potentially giving it a review to see if the game is something that JRPG fans can appreciate without being pulled down by its monetization system. The second free option, and I promise this is the last of the mobile games on this list, is going to be Anata, formerly known as Project Mugen, and they've been ramping up its promotion, likely for a 2025 release. Anata and NTE are extremely similar in terms of what they're attempting to offer and how they plan to differentiate themselves from Genshin Impact. Everything I've said about NTE can really be transferred over to Anata, but the only difference is that as of now, we haven't seen raw gameplay for Anata. We've seen several amazing looking things in gameplay trailers that appear to be gameplay, but I'm just so jaded from other games, I need to see actually people playing the game unedited with the UI before I fully buy in. If, however, everything plays how it looks in the gameplay trailers, which, there's a strong chance, I think we're in store for peak. They've shown so many cool things where I can see the potential and where they're attempting to take this game. The fact that Anata and NTE will be competing for essentially the same target audience, since they're trying to fill that, real world setting like anime GTA, I feel that means we as the consumers are gonna matter a lot more, because we will be the deciding factor in choosing which game is the winner to fill the void of anime GTA. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the last non-JRPG we'll talk about on this list, but it's definitely a game you should be keeping your eyes on if you're a fan of turn-based JRPGs. What caught everyone by surprise about this one is its stylish UI, but mainly its time-based inputs for turn-based attacks. Another unique thing about their turn-based combat is that parrying and dodging an enemy's attack isn't chance-based, it's also something you can do based on timed inputs. I'm sure getting the timing wrong isn't going to have a drastic effect on gameplay, but it's a very unique approach to make combat feel more interactive while still sticking to turn-based. Now, I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I feel like this approach could get a bit annoying throughout the course of like a 50+ hour game with there being no autoplay mechanic. Now, exactly when I had this thought, I saw an article where the developers came out and said that you can expect the runtime to be about 30 hours, which to me I feel like is the perfect length to tell a decent story and not get bored of like different systems such as this time-based, turn-based system. Time-based, turn-based, that's a real tongue twister, I'm not gonna lie. But when you look at the graphics on Expedition 33, they just look so crisp and it just looks so good. Like the graphics and the UI, to where this is another game that I'm like, oh my God, please give us a release date. I'm not sure if they have already. I don't think they have from my research, but when they do, hey, I'm tapped in. I will be eating, breathing, and sleeping this game when it comes out. Oh man, now the Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky remake is gonna be godsend for this franchise. There's so much discourse about, this is the best starting point, that's the best starting point, but a large majority saying that you must start with the first game. Now, a common response I see to that is, I'm not trying to play a 20-year-old game that isn't even available on modern consoles. I feel like this remake is gonna solve all three of those issues, allowing you to try out the franchise from the quote unquote the best starting point with sort of good graphics on modern consoles. And from there, if you find yourself invested, you can either pick up the next game in the arc or wait to see if the entire arc gets the remake treatment. I've only played Trails Through Daybreak from this franchise, so I'm anticipating this release because I hear everyone speak so highly of that first arc. I know that I joked and said, it's kind of modern graphics, but visually, this is a step up when it comes to like the Trails Through Daybreak. Like you can see the graphical difference. It's not a massive leap, but it is a solid step up visually. And I feel like if they can fix the voice acting, I'm gonna be 100% locked in. Now, when it came to Trails Through Daybreak, the voice acting was like a little bit spontaneous, where random characters would be voice acted in a conversation while others wouldn't. Now, if they can just fix that, which I'm sure they will, with it being like a remake, oh man, we're in store for a good one. As a JRPG content creator, even if I don't initially like this one, I feel like I'm gonna play it all the way through, just so that way I give the franchise a fair chance to induct me into their cult with what many say is the best game with the best arc for a beginner to get into. Rune Factory Gardens of Azuma is looking to build on the Rune Factory formula of mixing farming and life simulation with action-based combat. Now, the way that the story goes is the flow of runes has been disrupted, which destroyed the land and caused the gods of nature to retreat. You'll take on the role of two different protagonists who wield the power of a sacred dance to purify the land and restore its vitality. Obviously, there has to be some type of villain, and there's going to be an opposing side that wants these gods to stay dead, and you'll battle against them as you go through your journey. As always with the Rune Factory series, romance and friendship will be central. Overall, I like the aesthetic of the game, but I feel like the release date will really determine if I will play it or not. I mentioned with Phantom Brave The Lost Hero that they released in like a good slot where there's not a lot of competing JRPGs around it, and I feel like that same applies here, and I'm sure they'll be able to find a good release date for it. Now, I know that I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Atelier Resleriana, I'm just going to say the Red Alchemist and White Guardian, currently only has a 56-second teaser, so there isn't much information about the game aside from the fact that it's going to be releasing in 2025. This is a spin-off of an Atelier mobile game, but the Red Alchemist will be releasing on consoles, and as far as we know, it's not a gacha or just offline version of the mobile game. Now, I don't know 100% why they would release two single-player Atelier games in the same year, but if I had to make an assumption, this one will likely be turn-based to contrast Atelier Yumia's action-based combat. Now, I mentioned earlier that I really like the direction that Yumi has taken the franchise, so I'll be keeping my eye on this one in hopes that it's not just a throwaway game, reusing assets from the mobile game in a cash grab. I'm sure when we get more information to see it more fleshed out, I'm going to be just excited for this one as I am with Yumia. Armed Fantasia is a spiritual successor to a retro JRPG franchise, Wild Arms. This started as a Kickstarter 2 years ago, but has since been fully funded. From what they've shown in their initial trailer, they really caught a lot of people's attention and they're very impressed. And me personally, they have my undivided attention come launch, and I will be definitely waiting for this to be released. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is going to be released in 2025, but they are dropping monthly updates on their website in case you're curious about tracking how the development is coming along. I know this is a list for just games coming in 2025, but I feel like this one has the potential to be released. But even if it isn't, this is a Kickstarter that definitely deserves a lot more attention, and I want to bring as much to it as I can while possible, so that way come launch, we can all be excited for it, because this is a game we've been keeping our eye on, watching it progress through its development cycle. Now, when it comes to Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remakes, I feel like there isn't really much to say. With the release of Dragon Quest 3 Remake, we also got an announcement that 1 and 2 will be following shortly in 2025. You can expect the same quality of life features and graphic enhancements we saw in the first installment of the trilogy, but I'm curious to see what additional changes they make here. I know they added a different class with HD 3, Dragon Quest 3, HD Remake, yada yada yada. They added a different class, So I'm interested to see if they'll do anything different here with 1 and 2 to provide a new fresh experience for those who've already played them in the past. Now these are all the JRPGs you can look forward to playing in 2025, but if you're looking for JRPGs you can get your hands on now, check out this video right here where I go over the best JRPGs of 2024 that you can likely pick up on a big sale now. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.